Hello and welcome to this reading. I hope you're well. This is a timeless reading, and so whenever you're finding this, it's the right time for you. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Dylan, and welcome if you're here for the first time, and welcome back to those of you who already know me and follow my readings. So, today I had a bit of a theme come through for this reading, and that is around internal shifts, deep internal changes. So it'll be really interesting to see what wants to come through. We're going to work with 3 decks in this reading. We've got the Wildwood Tarot, which is one of my favourites, the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, another one of my favourites, and we've also got the Forest Fae Oracle as well. So very nature-based decks, and that's what I tend to work with. So yeah, without further ado, let's see what wants to come through for this reading. Let's see. So deep internal shifts. Get my words out. Let's see, where are we? Okay, interesting. Yeah, we've got 5 of Stones endurance. So it's likely that you've been on quite a long journey to get to the point, where you are now, and that may have felt like a long and winding road, to quote the song. That's how it feels. Keep having to, come back to the truth of who you are, having to come back to the basics now and then, feeling quite expansive sometimes, and then again feeling like this child in the card, feeling quite huddled and challenged. You can see there they're keeping this flame, this fire burning while a storm rages around them. And they have the protection of the cave there, which I'd imagine they'll go into and sleep in later. So it's this sense of coming back to yourself over and over again, no matter what happens, no matter all of the storms around, all of the difficulties and the challenges. You've had that power, that strength to endure, having that endurance to get to where you are now. So it feels like the culmination of many, I was going to say many years, but I want to say many lifetimes, getting to this point of where you can find that home within yourself. So there are also, because it's quite a deep internal shift that I'm picking up on, there's this sense of this lightning coming down. It actually reminds me of the Tower card, where the lightning strikes the tower, and when that lightning strike takes place, it's an illumination, an enlightenment experience, or an enlightening experience, where there's a sudden shift in perception. And it's interesting because I feel like on this journey sometimes, this spiritual awakening journey, there's a sense of sometimes feeling like it's taking a long time to feel any shifts or changes, and maybe feeling this sense of endurance of having to push through and keep going all the time. And then all of a sudden, in the most simplest of ways, something shifts internally, and perhaps it's unexpected. And then there's kind of like an aha moment. And then there's a sense of gratitude really for continuing, keeping on, keeping going, keeping moving, and keeping your flame burning bright, even though things feel challenging and you might feel a little bit huddled up at times and want to hide away. I will say as well that this sense of hiding away or wanting to hide away isn't a bad thing. Sometimes, we get the message that being on our own is like just isolating, and it's not a good thing, and we need company, and we need to be with people all the time, and like have that sense of community. And yes, it is true that we do need people as human beings. We are born needing other people. We're born helpless, really. Babies can't do anything for themselves, so we do need other people. However, there are times in our lives that we move through that we might see as a kind of hermit phase, where we don't need to, excuse my voice by the way, it's a little bit tired today. There are times when we don't need to be around other people a lot, and we actually need our own space, and we need to be able to hear ourselves think. That's what just came through. When you've got so much going on around you, and there are different opinions, different voices, especially now in the age of social media, we're constantly bombarded with different ideas and thoughts from other people. And really what's needed, especially at certain points on our journey, is this quiet, this stillness, this space to be able to listen in and hear what our soul wants to say to us. So yeah, I feel like there have probably been various times in your life where you've needed to withdraw in that way. You may be going through that time at the moment, and that's okay. It's absolutely okay. And it's okay to dip in and out. That's what just came through. It's okay to dip in and out of humanity, is what just came through there. Sometimes you'll want to engage and be in that, and maybe you'll want to go into the city or into the towns and be around lots of people. Maybe go to a festival, go to an event, that kind of thing, have a family gathering. And other times you'll just want to be by yourself, and you'll likely know by now, if you're watching this reading, that you're not alone anyway. Whenever you step back from being around other human beings, you're still around your spirit team, your spirit guides. You're also around the spirits of nature. You're surrounded by the elements. You know, we're never truly alone. And that actually really helps with those times of endurance as well, knowing that you've got that support. So that was a lot of information for one card. Let's see what else comes through in the next one. Yeah, okay. This spark. Ace of Bows, spark of life. Deep internal shifts, definitely. There's a kind of awakening feeling to this card, a spiritual awakening feeling. And however long you've been on the path, however much you've endured moving through it, you're always going to come round to having another aha moment, another spark that comes through. So I'm noticing both of these cards have fire here. So there's definitely a strong spiritual element to what you're moving through at this time. And I just had the word friction come through. So, you know, if you look at the way that the bow and the arrow are set up in this card, it's in a very old traditional way of lighting fires. You can use a string and set up a tool to use in order to spin or twist back and forth wood on other wood, and it will ignite a spark. And then you've got your kindling here, and it's like or your tinder. That's what's happened throughout all of this friction that's been taking place within you, throughout this endurance, throughout this time of testing, especially over the past few years, I would say. Although this is a timeless reading, like I am recording this in 2024. And it's likely you will have moved through many different challenges anyway, whichever time that you're watching this reading. But yeah, that friction, that constant kind of friction of back and forth, and the tension of opposites that we experience when our mind has believed one thing for a long time, and then we actually realise that something else is true. And then there's that tension of like holding those two opposite beliefs, and eventually the old one gives out and the new one is born fully, and then we've got this spark of life again coming through as a kind of rebirth. And I'm also seeing as well, which I've never really seen in this card before, but it's almost like a silhouette of a person's face, like a strange cartoonish face. You could see that as the nose and the mouth there and the eye at the top. So I'm feeling like there's an ancestral connection here, a guide that has come through to show you what the truth is, like the truth of yourself, and they're reflecting that back to you in some way as you move into this new way of being. It's quite exciting, really. If you think about the spark of life, there's excitement there, there's potential. With an ace, it's the very beginning of a journey. It is that awakening. It's that almost like a breath of fresh air, which would be more apt if it were the Ace of Swords. But I'm actually feeling there is that sense of freshness coming through. So all of this endurance, all of this friction, all of this difficulty that you've moved through, it's absolutely been worth it. I know there are days where sometimes it doesn't feel that way, and you might question like, why am I doing this? Why did I choose to do this? Because we do have pre-birth intentions that we set before we come here to take on certain roles, to learn certain things, to shift certain patterns, especially around karmic patterns and ancestral patterns that we pick up as well. So I've really got this sense that there probably have been days recently where you felt like, you've been thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Why did I choose to do this? But it's coming good. That's what just came through. It's all coming good. And something that feels like important for me to mention as well as this shift takes place is that there will be days when maybe you slip into that feeling again, and then other days you'll feel expansive again. Very often with these spaces, these times of shift and change, shifts in awareness, there's a back and forth that happens, and try not to hold on too tightly to the good days. Sometimes, when we do feel really good and we feel clear and empowered, the mind will start to kick in and we're like, I wish I could feel like this forever. But the truth is that we ebb and we flow. So as much as you can, just focus on letting it be as it is, as this shift takes place. Oh, dropped a card. We'll go with that one. Yeah, okay, so we've got the Six of Wands here. Again, this is a very strong rebirth card in this deck. And you'll notice, we've had the flames, the fire in the other cards, and now we've got this flame red hair, this wildness. I'm really getting a sense of rising from the ashes with this card. And the Six of Wands is, traditionally a card of celebration, of homecoming, really, being celebrated for how far you've come. We think about the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. There's a man returning on his horse and he's being celebrated, welcomed home by the people around him. So, he's been on a mission, he's been on a quest, and he's come back and he's being celebrated. So I really get this sense that with this internal shift, with this change, with this awakening that you're moving through, that you are being celebrated, you are being welcomed home, be that through your ancestry, your ancestors, or through your guides, through any deities that you may work with. There's kind of like just had like a party vibe going on, like, welcome home, you've remembered who you are, congratulations, and now it's kind of on to the next phase. But again, there's a kind of pained, serious expression, I would say, on the woman's face in this card. She's not exactly looking particularly celebratory. You can tell that she's moved through a lot. She's faced difficulties and perhaps she's experiencing some rebirthing pains in this card. But she is in movement, she is shifting, she is changing. Yeah, so I also get the sense that she's moved out of a wild wood, as though she's moved through a dark time, through the dark forest, and she's also almost like emerged at the other side. And there are moths around her, and moths are very much connected to rebirth in the same way that butterflies are. However, moths are more connected to the darkness than they are the light. Even though they move towards the light, they tend to come out more so, you see them more so in the darkness. So there's an element here as well of balancing light and shadow. And I've no doubt that if you're watching this video and accessing my readings, watching my readings, that you do work with light and shadow, and you'll be very familiar with those concepts or those themes by now in your life. And it's really about learning to dance with the two. But you've shifted so deeply, so intrinsically, and so fundamentally that it's going to be like second nature to you now, or maybe even like first nature, to be able to dance between the two, the light and the shadow. So I want to ask, like, what have you got to look forward to now that you've made this shift? So we've got the Six of Pentacles, which is beautiful, actually, a great thing to look forward to. You see the women here harvesting these apples. You're harvesting the wisdom. You're going to be harvesting financial gain. You're going to be harvesting probably deeper connections, like more, I want to say high quality connections, just in the sense that there will be a certain quality to the people that you connect with as you move forwards, a more grounded, solid, true, authentic quality. And that's because that's also what you are emitting in terms of your energy. You've shifted, you're more grounded in yourself, you're more connected to yourself, you're more authentic in yourself and feel more comfortable being authentic, and therefore you're going to attract those kinds of people back to you. So there's a lot to be harvested, there's a lot to reap, like reaping the benefits of all of this endurance and difficulty that you've moved through. That's not to say that you won't ever move through difficult situations again, but you have shifted to the point where you know that you can handle anything now. Even the most difficult of things that are going to come up, you're going to be able to move through that in a different way, with a different perspective and a different kind of energy. So you're ready to reap the rewards. And what just came through then is that you need to go out and reap the rewards. So sometimes it's not that they're just going to appear. Like these women have gone out to pick the apples from the tree. You'll notice that she's not collecting an apple from the ground, which is a windfall. She's actually plucking the apple from the tree. So what I'm taking from this is the message that you're going to need to go out and reap your rewards. They're not just going to land in your lap, so to speak. But you'll notice as well that these women are actually enjoying what they're doing. They look like they're quite happy with, their harvesting, enjoying the fruits of their labour. And so when you do go out to reap those rewards, to gather your gifts that are definitely coming to you having made this shift, it can be an enjoyable process. I'm not talking about hard slog, unenjoyable, horrible kind of striving, the usual 9 to 5 kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going out and enjoying, well, they're out in summer, enjoying nature, enjoying the fruits. So that feels really, really poignant, like a message to say that things have shifted, the way in which you attract things have shifted, your ability to manifest has shifted. This is a great card of manifestation. And, sixes as well, they are times of transition and positive transition, things coming in, reaping the benefits, reaping the rewards. You're in a good space. You notice, like with this 5 card, it's the 5 of stones, which is endurance. 5s are challenges, they're difficulties. They bring about change, but they are difficulties nonetheless. So, you've moved from this time of endurance and difficulty into a time of rebirth and reaping rewards. So let's see what the Forest Fae Oracle has to say. See what we've got. I love the artwork on the back of this deck. It's beautiful. Oh, we dropped a card again. They're actually jumping out of the decks today. Perfect. Keep going. Trust in yourself. You have all you need. Yeah. So the shift that has taken place, I'm really noticing the star, which is around about the heart area of the being in this card. You've shifted in a big way, like your vibration has changed very, what's the word I'm looking for? Drastically. Let's use the word drastically. It's changed in a very big way. And so this point of attraction that I'm feeling here in your heart, like I was saying, you're attracting different things now. You're attracting different people, possibilities, opportunities. And there may actually be things that you're already working with or working through. In terms of your work, in the world, and projects, creative projects that you're already doing, but they're going to shift, they're going to change, just in the way that you now feel more clear as to why you're doing them, why you're doing the work that you do, why you're attracted to the things that you're attracted to. And this card says, keep going. You know, you've got all that you need. So it's not necessarily that everything in your life is just going to completely change, everything's going to leave, and then lots of new things are going to come in. That could be the case for some people. But what I'm feeling is that you're going to continue what you're doing, because it says keep going, but you're going to do it in a different way. You're approaching this as a different person, as a different version of yourself. So in essence, you're the same person. You've always been the same person as a soul. You've always been you. That's your essence. And you're making your way back to that, spiraling inwards, back to that place in yourself where you know your truth, you know yourself, you know who you are. But as we move closer to that truth, we shift in a sense that we show up in the physical world in a different way. And perhaps, you know, we move through life with more confidence. We feel safer in ourselves. We feel protected and protective of our own energy, and we feel protected by our own energy. We know that we don't walk alone. We have guides, ancestors, nature spirits, deities, all of these support systems that we have around us in the unseen realm. So when we know that, we can move forwards with more confidence. So that's what I'm feeling for you, is that you're stepping out of this kind of dark forest, this dark woodland, into the light, where these moths are as well. They're drawn to the light. I'm also getting that people are being drawn to you because you are this light, and the moths are coming towards you. Be discerning about these moths. Some people are very much drawn to light because they don't know how to generate their own, and they like to, or probably not fair, but they don't know any other way than to draw light from other people. So don't give too much. It's something else I want to say. But you're stepping out into the light. You are the light. This light's emanating from you, from this star in your heart here. And some of these moths are going to be great moths to attract the right people, like I was saying about people that you're in resonance with, people who are beneficial to have in your life, who bring opportunity, who bring love, who bring support and happiness and vibrancy, and you know, people of like soul, of like mind, that you can really let your hair down with and enjoy yourself with. And if you're still in a kind of hermit phase, that's absolutely okay as well. And also I will say kind of quality over quantity is often the case, where you'll have high quality people, like people who feel really, really good to be around in your life. You might have a few of those, and then, you know, kind of leave the rest. There's just this sense of you being quite selective about who you share your energy with. So the keep going ties in with the endurance as well. You know, as I said, these things do come around again. So you might notice that happens. That you do have a few days where maybe you feel like you've gone backwards, but it's not the case. It's just the balancing out of you coming into your true self, and assimilating that and getting used to that kind of energy as well. If you have a place that you go to in meditation, or maybe even a place in nature, or both, that you can sit and recharge yourself, or maybe you have a quiet corner of your home, maybe you have an altar or a shrine that you've set up, which is solely for quiet time. If you have that, then I would say spend time in that space. If you don't have that, then do create that space. Even if it's internal, you know, when you meditate, if you create a space that you can go to, and maybe a kind of cave or a grove, or a hut in the woods, or anything, you know, a space by a pool or a waterfall, anything that you can visualize where you can feel regenerated, where you can boost your energy. definitely do that, because it's going to help you to stay in the energy that you're moving into through this shift, and eventually that energy is just going to be you, it's just going to be your baseline. And for many of us, baselines over the years may have felt like worry or panic or anxiety or depression, or just not a very good place. Like having a baseline where you feel anxious isn't enjoyable, right? So this new baseline that you're putting in place, or is coming in by itself, well, maybe not by itself, you've actually created it, you've done it yourself through this inner work, through this endurance. That baseline is being created, that foundation, and that's where all of the good stuff's going to come from, because that then is where you sit, that is where you rest, and where you move forwards from. So I'm going to pull one more card, and then I'll draw this reading to a close. We'll go with the Wildwood again. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Three of Bows, fulfillment. There we are. I actually had the words Grand Master come through when this card came out, so you've definitely been tapping into this master within yourself. So what I'm picking up on here as well, we've got the two snakes or serpents or dragons moving upwards, that this is related to the rising of your energy, which is sometimes known as Kundalini. Could be known as various things in different cultures. I believe it's known as Nuavra in the Celtic culture, especially within Druidism. And what it is this rising up of your essence, your truth, your true potential and energy that rests at the base of the spine. So there's this sense of you experiencing that rising up of yourself, and I just have this feeling as well that maybe you've been feeling like you've been looking out from behind your eyes. It's quite difficult to explain, but feeling like an ancient soul, like you've awakened and you've been reborn, and it's almost like you've just stepped into this body, and you're like, oh, and you can see as though your eyes were windows and you're looking out as a soul through your eyes. Some of you will have experienced that. And awakening the master are other words that are coming through as well. You notice that he's holding his hand up there, and manifestation, like creating things through your will, that's coming through very strongly as well. And creating that which you want to see in the world. There's a strong sense of initiation. So you've probably felt very recently that you've been moving through a time of initiation. And you'll notice here that there are two paths either side of the person in this card, and you can choose to go any which way you want to go. This is completely up to you. Like, this is your life, this is your choice as to what you want to do. And I do feel you're at a kind of choice point, but it doesn't feel like a tough choice point. It's more like, okay, so now that I know this about myself, now that I know my power, I know who I am, I know why I'm here, how do I want to go about this? Do I want to go that way or that way? And I will say that whichever way you choose to go, there's no wrong way. All of this, because of the resonance that you're in now, the vibration that you're in, all of this is going to lead you to what you want and what you're meant to do. But there may be different variations of how you do it. So you might choose to work with certain tools or certain beliefs, or work with certain modalities, methodologies, philosophies. It's really up to you. It doesn't matter which one you choose as long as it's resonant for you. So now is a choice point. What do you want to follow? And I will say as well that you can always change your path. Quite often through our spiritual journey, we might start out with one particular belief system, we might start out with one philosophy or spiritual approach or spiritual practice, and then that no longer really feels apt, doesn't feel right for us anymore because our energy shifted. Then we might feel attracted to another thing, and then after a while that still kind of resonates, but now we're going in this direction. So don't try to limit yourself to one approach, and don't feel too concerned if you start to lose interest in something that's actually been a big part of your life so far and you actually feel more attracted to something else. And I will say, because of the intertwining of these snakes or serpents, you can mix and blend whatever works for you. So yeah, big internal shift to the point of, I would say, some kind of mastery, and really moving in the direction of that which you want to create. And I will say as well that what you want to create is of benefit to other people. It's not a kind of selfish endeavour, and it's mutually beneficial. So you'll feel, sometimes I know that people can feel like they shouldn't go after what they want because it's selfish. But actually, when you're in tune with yourself and you reach this level and you can feel that power and that authenticity and that desire, that drive to move forwards as your true self, whatever you do is going to benefit other people. As long as you're in alignment, as long as you are in your power, as long as you are coming from an authentic space, you will want to help other people. That's just a part of who you are. That's a part of your nature. So don't worry that you're being selfish, because the things that you do as you move forwards now, and this has already been happening as well, but more so, these things, like these intentions, these creations, are going to ripple out and make a big difference. So yeah, so I hope this reading has been helpful. I've really enjoyed passing on these messages for you. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this, then like and subscribe, leave a little comment if you feel to, of what's resonated. And you can find all of my links in the description box below if you'd like to contact me, find out about my services, or join Patreon, Instagram. It's all down there. So thank you again for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. Take care. Much love. Bye bye.